Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
Hey all you heroes, hawks, heralds, crows, pirates, and wardens. Welcome to the Dragon Age Lorecast, where we unpack, discuss, and galaxy brain about all the lore behind the Dragon Age series.
We are so excited to bring you this podcast. Every episode, we'll be talking about a different topic in the Dragon Age universe, from character deep dives to exalted marches and elven gods. We will cover it all.
There will be spoilers. And always remember, swooping is bad.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon Age Lorecast, where we talk about Dragon Age and its lore. I'm one of your hosts, Austin, also known as She-Cup.
As She-Cup?
Yes.
This is the second week in a row that you've done that.
All right.
Anyway, I'm She-Cup and you're Teacup, and yeah, we're back with another character deep dive.
All right. Well, let's just dive right in.
Okay, let's do it. So today is a momentous occasion, because this is our first character deep dive on a companion from Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Wow.
I know.
It's been a year, a little over.
Yep.
But it's been a year.
Almost exactly a year. And it's time. So, and we haven't been avoiding it or putting it off for any reason. It's just the way that the themes of the seasons have fallen. But we are starting with probably the character who's from Veilguard, whose backstory that we know the most about. And so we're starting today with Neve Gallus.
Everyone's favorite detective.
Yes, for sure. So if you don't know, Neve is a Tevinter mage from Docktown, a working class neighborhood in Minrathous, who works as a private investigator and joins the companions in the Veilguard. So let's just jump right into some fun facts. So number one, Neve was written by Brienne Batty, which makes sense because she wrote most of those chapters in Tevinter Nights. And Varric's nickname for Neve is Slick, which again makes sense with the private investigator detective angle of it all. Now, a majority of Neve's diet is her favorite food, which is deep fried fish. I'm thinking like fish and chips, which I also love fish and chips, so I can relate to that girl.
I actually think it's more aligned with like a whole fish on a stick. Because I think you go and get it in one of her side quests when you go to Tevinter, and like you get it from the stall, and she like hands you
a fish,
a fried fish on a stick, and like I don't think it's breaded. Like it's just like the whole fish, just like in deep oil.
I like that much less, frankly. That is a no from me.
But her diet, like it is so much that her diet that Lucanus will comment that he's concerned she's not getting enough like nutrients.
Yeah, she definitely has scurvy. Like for sure. I mean, you're telling me that you're only eating fish, no vegetables. No vegetables, no carbs, no fruits. No citrus, like, girl, I'm surprised you're upright.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, something notable about Neve is that she is disabled and she uses a metal prosthetic leg that's dwarven made. I didn't know until I started doing the research that her prosthetic leg was made by the dwarves. But it does make sense because they make the best, metal weapons. So why would they not also make prosthetics?
Right. It just is. interesting because, like, I guess if you count the Inquisitor, this isn't the first character in the Veilguard or in Dragon Age that's played a like missing hand kind of role.
That's true. Also, can we get a prosthetic for the Inquisitor that's made by the dwarves?
Well, I think they have one. I think there is like a prosthetic hand.
Yeah, I just don't know if it's dwarven made.
I guess that's fair.
All right, so I got 2 more fun facts, which the next one is that she is part of the book club, along with Emmerich, Ballara, and Harding from the Veilguard. And lastly, her name means snow and is French, and that fits in perfectly with her ice talents.
Is it Neve or Gallus that means
Neve?
French? Neve, okay.
All right, so are we ready to get into her background, or do you have anything to add before we do so?
No, let's just go right to her background.
All right. So Neve was born and raised in working class Minrathous, and we don't actually know much about her childhood, if any at all, but we do know quite a lot about her time prior to the Veilguard. So we know, without a doubt, 100% she does not believe in mage supremacy, which is a very, very abnormal viewpoint for a Tevinter mage to have. Now, even though she's not part of the magisterium, you know, it's a very common misconception that all mages are part of the magisterium. They are not. But regardless of that, it is pretty uncommon for a Tevinter mage to not believe in their own supremacy. And we also know that she was a member of the Shadow Dragons who fought for a better future for all of Tevinter. And so we know she's not totally alone in that viewpoint of mage supremacy needs to end, since she is part of the Shadow Dragons. But that's a very important component of her character.
Yeah. It is really interesting that we do get this Tevinter mage, because I feel like Neve is one of the first Tevinter mage's companions that we get that, like, from the get-go is just not buying the Tevinter Kool-Aid. Like, we meet Dorian as he's beginning to deconstruct. Like, he is at a point of, like, okay, maybe, like, we shouldn't be mage supremacy, but Tevinter's still great and all this stuff, and, like, we're better than the Southerners or whatever is when you meet him. But, like, Neve starts to think of, like, no, like, we suck as mages. Like, the magisterium is bad and needs to be taken down.
Yes, I agree completely. And I think that the reason why is because she comes from a working class background. Whereas Dorian and Maevaris and some of the other mages and Tevinter people that we know and see in the games, they are magisters. They are from the noble houses. They are wealthy. And so I think that this is very much a class divide in Tevinter, which I do think that is one of the strengths of this game, is that they highlight, hey, not everybody in Tevinter believes the same thing. Not everybody in Tevinter is wealthy. Not everybody in Tevinter is privileged. And there is a diversity of opinion. That's one of the things I do think they do well, even with all its faults.
That's so true. But yeah, I think let's just keep going.
All right. So Neve crossed paths with the Viper when she was working a missing persons case. The person that she was looking for was a missing slave, and the Viper was hunting down the slavers. They worked together to find the person, which is when he recruited her into the Shadow Dragons. Good.
I was just going to jump into like I don't know if it's a fan theory, but I know it's circulated a lot online that like somewhere in the game file somewhere equates the Viper either with the Archon or the Black Divine.
Yes. That is, I believe, a rumor. But that is legitimate.
That it is in the game files?
Yes. Okay, so confirmed his real identity, quote unquote, is a mystery based on Rook's conversations with Neve. But I believe that it is confirmed that he is the Imperial Divine.
Oh, really interesting.
Yeah, maybe we'll do, I don't know if we have enough to do a character deep dive on him, but we may have enough to do a side character on him. We should definitely do that. Interesting.
I just think it would be really interesting point and I think might give credence to one of your big theories about Neve that I'm sure we're going to talk.
Episode.
Yeah, we're going to talk about soon. But let's just keep going before we
put a pin in that.
Yeah.
So my last thing before we really get into her involvement in the materials of Dragon Age is that in her work as a private investigator, she has earned pretty significant infamy and renown. And we know this because so many people in the Veilguard know her. Elio in Vows and Vengeance has heard of her. Bellara has heard stories about her. And people in Tevinter Nights has heard of her reputation too. Plus, we know that Varric has as well. And so we've got multiple people in game who have been like, oh yeah, I've heard about you. So we know that she's earned at least a pretty decent reputation for herself with her work.
Exactly. I feel like with Rook, like when you start the game, they're like, oh, we're going to go find Neve Gallus. And like everyone knows Neve Gallus. I feel like it's, you know, we watched the D&D movie and it's when they find the paladin and and like Edgin or whatever. He is like, nah, like this isn't a good thing. And then everyone's like, nah, we've heard of this person.
Yeah, like literally everybody knows him. What is his name? Zank or whatever it is. Yeah, literally everybody knows him. And I do feel like that is very similar. But let's get into Tevinter Nights a little bit. So this is where we first meet Neve, specifically the Streets of Minrathous chapter. And you can listen to our episodes on Tevinter Nights for more in-depth details. But to sum up Neve's involvement, basically she's sent on a job to find out if a certain young mage has ties to the Venatori or not. It turns out that this mage has gotten killed and is one of several in a string of murders that very night. She finds that the murderer of all of these people is a woman named Aelia, who is searching for enchanted clay discs. All of the victims possessed one of these. Aelia then finds out that Neve is looking for her, attacks, and Neve learns that Aelia and her conspirators plan to release a powerful demon that is sealed under Minrathous. The clay discs are the seals to the prison for the demon that are blood bound to the bearers. Along with the Templars, Neve prevents Aelia from completing the ritual, and she's taken into Tevinter custody via the Templars. I want to put a pin in this because we will have more information about Aelia later in this episode.
The tea.
Yes.
The cliffhanger.
We know she comes back in the Veilguard.
The tease.
So in The Missing, which is a comic, which we also have an episode on, Neve meets up with Varric and Harding in Minrathous while investigating Solas's recent attacks on the Venatori and freeing of elven slaves. With help from the Shadow Dragons, they learn that Solas plans to flee through the canals as the Venatori prepare an ambush against those escaped slaves. And so, as you can imagine, Neve, Varric, and Harding choose compassion over finding Solas, and so they rescue the elves, which allows him to escape. However, they do secure the security of the freed slaves, and, you know, Solas is lost to the wind. And then again, she appears in Vows and Vengeance,
which we also have an episode on.
And she appears in episodes 1 and 8 of the podcast. And so in the first one, she meets with Elio to tell him about the Eye of Cathiska and Nadia's plans for it. She tries to prevent them from leaving Minrathous after pretty much everything goes to shit, but they escape anyway. And then in episode 8, she appears again, meeting with Varric to discuss Solas, and they end up going to help rescue Nadia from the catacombs. That's a very bare bones overview, but like she's not really integral to the plot. She's just kind of a side character in the background. And so that's everything we have from Neve prior to the games. Or prior to the game. So do you have thoughts about her depiction, her portrayal so far before we go to our mid-break and then come back and get into Veilguard?
I have two things. One is a thought on her and other is a question for you. The first thought is like the stories, especially her Tevinter Nights stories, and the missing stories are really important to a character because it sets her up as someone who is going to like obsessively pursue her goal, but not at the detriment of other people. She doesn't chase Solus. She stops to save the elven people because that's more important to her. And like that shows you where her priorities are, which is like one of the frustrating things I have about her particular side quest in the Veilguard, because the way that quest plays out is dependent on which city you pick.
Yeah.
In that. And I don't think the fate of Minrathous, good or bad, would fundamentally change who Neve is at her core that much.
That's fair. I think that's fair. And I do agree, especially the missing sets her up to be this person that like cares about her goals and what she's trying to accomplish, but that compassion is always going to come first. And I don't necessarily think the Veilguard gives her a different portrayal. I just think that when you choose to save Treviso over Minrathous, her quote-unquote hardened portrayal, I think that a hardened Neve forgets that compassion.
Yes, I would agree with that. And then my question is, because I'm trying to remember and rack my brain, Neve and Lucanus are the only... Emmerich. Neve, Lucanus, and Emmerich all appear in Tevinter Nights.
Yes.
But they're the only three.
I think they are the only three, yes. But they all do absolutely appear in Tevinter Nights. No, well, Tea and Viago, but I assume you mean companions.
Like companions of the like.
Yeah, I think they're the only three. Why?
I was just curious.
Okay. Well, then I think now is a good time to go to our mid-break.
All right.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. This Monday night, witness the end of an era. John Cena takes center stage for his final appearance ever on Monday Night Raw. One last match, one unforgettable farewell. Come celebrate the legacy of a true WWE legend. Monday Night Raw, November 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix. Be there for the moment everyone will be talking about.
Hey there, it's Dr. Sanjay Gupta with some exciting news to share. CNN is now streaming. That means you can read, watch, and stream everything in one subscription. You can watch news live 24/7. You can also explore catch-up videos and explainer videos, and you can also watch the library of CNN's originals, including my latest documentary, It Doesn't Have to Hurt. Just go to cnn.com/all-access.
That is uncharacteristically wise of you.
Yes, well, don't let it get around. I have a reputation.
We hear odd stories of Templars in the Imperium, Dorian.
All true.
I haven't even told you what I've heard.
Doesn't matter. All true. Particularly the part with the grapes and feathers.
Oh, I was leading towards that one, actually.
Please, go on. First Talon. What? Seeing if you've got the hang of your new title yet. Right, me. First Talon. If you join the Wardens, you could become the first Warden who's also First Talon. The first Talon Warden. Or First Talon First Warden. Is that the First Talon who is a Warden, or the first Talon First Warden? So many possibilities.
Well, welcome to the middle of the show where we take time to thank our patrons. We had a great patron chat 2 weeks ago. I think that's right.
Longer than that because our next patron chat.
Yeah, so like last month we had a great patron chat last month. So if you want to come and hang out with us, it'll be a great time to join the Patreon, and you can do that at patreon.com/DA Lorecast. Another great way to support us is to leave us ratings and reviews on Apple or Spotify. If you leave us 5 stars and some kind words, we will read them out on a future episode of the show. We don't have any reviews to read today, and so if you haven't left us one, please do, and we'll read it out on the show with 5 stars and some kind words. Lastly, I need you to come hang out with us on Discord. Join the Cups Podcasting and More Discord server. You can find that link in the episode description, in all the episode descriptions, and on our website, Cups Podcasting and More. And that's all I have for the middle of the show.
All right, let's get back into it.
Getting ready to step into your career era? Set yourself apart with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Hone your skills with apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and more, powered with the latest in creative AI. Students save over 55% so you can build a portfolio you're proud of. Launch your future with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Visit adobe.com/students to learn more.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana.
This reminds me of a story.
Shocking.
It's about an impossibly handsome dwarf and his friend who got crowned King of the Nugs.
A Nug King? Really?
It's not as good as it sounds. Nugs mostly just shit on the floor and roll in it. Welcome to the deep roads.
Is it me, or is this the slowest lift ever constructed?
It's better than climbing down.
I could do with some music. Something with a flute.
How about we skip this one? Send your man instead.
How about I shove a canary up your coal mine?
All right, so let's get into her appearance in the Veilguard, which is where obviously we see the most of her. Neve is one of the first companions we get in the game. You first meet her with Varric and Harding as she's essentially been kidnapped by the Venatori. However, she has been able to dispatch them pretty easily. She can also be the one to help you disrupt Solas's ritual and can get injured in the process. I love the way that the fandom wiki site describes her role in the game. They say, quote, Neve plays an invaluable role as the Veilguard's chief information gatherer, as well as being an expert on both magic and the Venatori with whom she has personal history, end quote. So very correct in this chief information officer role, as well as her relationship with the Venatori. And I just really like the way they put that.
Yeah, it's really well written and really captures like Neve's role in the entire thing.
And I think it's important to note that, yes, she is so intimately familiar with the Venatori, and she's hunted down so many of them that she knows exactly their patterns, their tendencies, and what and how they'll react to something.
Exactly.
She also uses her membership in the Shadow Dragons to help you make connections with people like Tarquin and the Viper. Parentheses, hot.
Is the Viper like... You know, I think one of Rook's response when the Viper first shows up is like, wow, that's quite an entrance, which is exactly what I thought. Like the jumping, the voice, the towered stature, all of that.
Fair. Very fair. Anyway, so she helps you make connections with them. And we know that she's not really hesitant about working with people who are quote unquote unsavory members of Tevinter society, like the Threads, a mercenary group. But also, as a mage, she even works with the Templars. And so Neve is really a person who tries as best as she can to get along with everyone, because she never knows when a person could be a lead or a witness in one of her cases or help her out with something in a case.
Neve is very, very clearly like, and it even like shows in like part of her like companion quest that opens with that like very classic like detective noir like opening at a bar with a woman singing and doing all of that. Like she is so taking inspiration from these like classic like detective movie stuff.
Very much so. And I didn't really like get into that in these show notes, but that is very much an inspiration for her character. And, you know, you're absolutely right in that. But something else I want to talk about is the wisps that follow her around the lighthouse. And we're not really sure like why they do that. But wherever she's at in her room in the lighthouse, the wisps are nearby. And this is what she says about it. Quote, "It's not the room. Easy to rule out. I moved my stuff, but they followed. Back where we started. What are they after? They focus on the notes. Sometimes they'll circle a bauble or two, but mostly the notes. Why? Curiosity? Wisps are known for it. Emmerich got a paper or 3 on the topic. And lucky me, I've got a desk full of mysteries and other people's secrets. So, say they like an unanswered question. Is that it? Is it all the notes or certain cases in particular? Their interest seems random, but what is it? What's the pattern? They avoid anything related to the Opal Rose case. A coincidence? Too easy. Then again, wisps. Bellara asked if this was a real case and if I was keeping official notes. Yes. End quote. So with that, what is your opinion on the wisps?
I think and I don't know, there's more information about the wisps, but I really think they're attracted to Neve because they're restless. They have unanswered questions about life, and they're watching Neve solve that. So they're attracted to that, in essence, would be my theory.
Yeah. I think it's something about the solving of problems, of cases, of figuring out why such and such person died. Because, Emmerich could give them peace, right? Mm-hmm. As a member of the Mournwatch. Other members of the Veilguard could have different things to do with him, but I think that there is something about the aspect of working to solve the case that they're attracted to, because nobody else is really yes, other people kill, yes, other people could give them peace, but she's the only one that has that sense of giving them closure,
right?
And I think there is a difference between peace and closure.
I think it's I feel like it's a nod to, there's this old detective show, I think it's called The Ghost Whisperer or something like that, where there's this detective that sees ghosts and they solve unsolvable crimes or things like that. Mm-hmm. I think that's the name of the show, but I don't remember. But it's very similar to that of Neve is the one that's it's about the answers that these wisps are trying to get. And there's such a connection between wisp spirits and the dead.
Yes.
It just is. That's would be my theory.
I definitely agree with that. So we've already mentioned, if you don't save Minrathous when you have to choose between Minrathous and Treviso, Neve will be pretty angry and will become hardened. And she's kind of mean to you. But I don't want to spend too much time on that because you can just play the game. So we did say that we would come back to the personal quest. And so I want to dig into this. And surprise of all surprises, from Tevinter Nights, the Aelia person that they captured, she got free, as you can imagine. And so she's back. She is doing more terrible things. And so Neve and Rook go to hunt her down. And Aelia has basically gotten into a war with the Threads mercenaries and is undergoing some sort of ritual. They plan to get in during the ritual, interrupt it, and take her down. When they arrive, blood magic is being used literally everywhere. She's taken regular, everyday members of the Docktown community, like newspaper sellers, performers, Neve's friend Hal, and other civilians, and used them in the ritual. Neve cannot free them without killing them. So she can either bring Aelia into the Templars to arrest her, or to the Threads. Either way, Aelia is not really outright killed. She's arrested either way. And so Neve's actions during this quest can either lead her to become a local hero in Docktown, which happens if you give Aelia to the Templars, or more of a mob boss in Docktown, which happens if you give Aelia to the Threads. It's implied that the Threads kill her, but we don't outright see this.
Right. And I think, I can't remember, but if you choose to save Treviso, you don't get a choice in it. You don't get to affect. It just
happens, right?
In a certain way. It's I can't remember Lucanus's is a similar one. His, when I chose Minrathous on my first playthrough, I didn't get the whole sequence of going to reconcile Lucanus with Spite. or any of that.
Before he goes back to...
And he just made, like, I didn't even get a dialogue option with Ilario. I can't remember what the default choice was, but there's another default choice with this one, and I don't remember what it is.
I don't remember which one it is either. But here's my thing about this personal quest. Why... And maybe this is the wrong choice, quote unquote wrong choice, but I don't understand why you would pick, let's give her back to the Templars who already lost her once.
So you think Neve should be a mob boss?
It's not that I necessarily think she should be a mob boss. It's that I think there's no way in hell I'm going to give Aelia back to the entity that already lost her and let her go once. No, she just needs to be killed.
Right. I think that it depends on, I don't know. I don't know. I think the way the game sets it up is that, like, she's defeated and her power is lost in a lot.
Yeah, but, like, she can get that power back. She can just go join whatever bad, terrible, slave-owning, blood magic using, old god worshipping group that's going to rise up after the Venatori.
Right. I guess my question is, I know the Rite of Tranquility really isn't, like, a thing in Tevinter. I know it exists. I know they've used it before, but, like, do you think, like, with someone like this person that, depending on whatever, with Dorian and Maevaris, like, do you think they would just make her tranquil to create her as not a threat? When they become
Archon? Well, we know the Rite of Tranquility can be reversed.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's
so
true.
I just feel like, put her to death. Like, why are we trying to preserve this terrible, evil person's life?
Yeah. But, I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. I think that with Neve and the choice to the Templars is less about like just giving her back to the Templars who lost her, and more about, like, preserving the law and order and, like, keeping that thing of, like, she is seeking justice, not vengeance. And all of that, you know?
Yeah. I hear that. And also, they don't even really have a country right now.
That's true. I mean,
like,
does anyone?
No, exactly. No, but what rule of law is there?
The world's ending.
The world is ending. Kill her. Who cares?
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right.
Maybe that's evil of me, but whatever.
No, I hear you of the thing of, like, it comes back to this theme of, like, is showing mercy at this point, like, just going to cause you more trouble down the long run?
She's already shown Aelia mercy once.
Mm-hmm.
How many times are you going to let yourself get burned?
I feel like it depends on where Neve is, but, like, a not hardened Neve would say, like, it's not my place to enact justice.
Yes. But a hardened
it's not
Neve,
a choice that I need to make.
Exactly. I think a hardened Neve would be like, yeah, we've got to get rid of her. All right. So let's, that's basically her depiction in the Veilguard. There are some more things that can happen, but, like, you can play the game. I want to get into some quotes. And, a lot of these are really interesting. And so we'll just dive right in. So the first one says, I'm fighting Rook. Sometimes it feels as though the city itself stabs me in the back. Meaning Minrathous. The next one is, Southern Chantry buildings have a different feel to them, not always a welcoming one. The third quote is, I look for things, people, objects, information. People have problems that Templars and Magisters can't help, or won't. Word got out, I might. It's enough to live on, if it doesn't get me killed. And then the last one is, people will tell you Minrathous is broken, and they're right. It's corrupt, petty. Saving the world won't fix it. I take the small wins, Rook. Howl serving fish another day. Getting past the next scrape alive. Sometimes you're lucky. Sometimes you get more. But the tables always turn, and it's better if you know it's coming. I think this last quote really perfectly sums up her character and really perfectly sums up her perspective and where she's at in the game and what she's trying to do.
Right. I think it comes down to, like, this is something that I think is very explicitly stated. But when Neve says Minrathous, She's not talking about the institutions. She's not talking about the buildings. She's not talking about the physical city. She's talking about the people.
I don't even agree with that. I think she's talking about the people of Docktown. She could give two shits about the magisterium. She could give two shits about all the noble houses and wherever they live in whatever neighborhood that is.
Mm-hmm.
She is talking, and she really solely cares about the people of Docktown. She is so focused on making sure that the little guy of Minrathous isn't completely ravaged and taken advantage of by the magisterium. And I think that that is a noble endeavor.
Yes. And like, it's very like Oliver Queen, Green Arrow, Batman. Mm-hmm. Like, not like, no, they're not as rich. That's not as rich as they are.
Yeah,
but
she's
like,
definitely not like a wealthy person.
Right. But it's like, or like the heroes like Black Lightning or Static in DC, who come from these both historically black superheroes who come from neighborhoods where they're not like rich, who like develop their superpowers in this kind of like holy night draining down, but like this person who rose up to fight and all of those things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, and I think those are great examples of characters like her, because you're right, she's not like, she's from this community. She grows up in Docktown. So it's really like she wants to preserve her own neighborhood is part of it too.
Right. And like, she doesn't look at Docktown or Tevinter or Minrathous with rose-colored glasses. No. Like, she sees it for what it is, mm-hmm. which can only happen from someone who lives in the real lived-in area.
That's exactly right. So let's get into some of her characteristics. So if you have any to add, give me them at the end. But I think that she's detail-oriented, eagle-eyed, independent to a fault, cynical, reserved, witty, and passionate.
I think that's all. Those would be the ones that I used to characterize her as well.
All right. So let's get into some discussion. And before we talk about why we love or hate Neve, I do have a conspiracy theory. And I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I definitely have in the Discord. But I think that Neve is the daughter of Archon Rdonis, who is the Archon at the beginning of the game and then gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are so many reasons why. And I'm just going to get into them. Both Neve and Archon Rdonis are depicted wearing items of clothing that contain nods to serpents and serpents themselves. So, yes, this is also just like Tevinter iconography, but the ones that they are seen with are reminiscent of each other, and sometimes in Tevinter mythology and iconography, they look different. Rdonis has a serpent staff, serpent pattern on his collars, and a snake head on a headpiece. Neve has a serpent pattern in her clothing, a serpent on her fuck-ass hat. On her earrings, she has snake skin. She also has a serpent belt, and she has a serpent design on her prosthetic. So there's a lot of overlap there. Another point is that both Rdonis and Neve wear the exact same shade of teal. You can see in the show notes, Neve is on the left and Rdonis is on the right, and they're almost identical colors.
Interesting.
I'm not done yet. Their skin tone and coloring are very similar, and that they both have very straight, dark hair. While they ostensibly have very different goals, they both hate the Venatori and want to eradicate them. Additionally, they both love Tevinter, albeit in their own separate ways. Also, the shadow on Neve's tarot card that's located directly behind her staff looks quite a bit like Archon Rdonis' depiction in the comics. Yes, it also looks like an arcane horror, but why would a demon wield a serpent-themed staff that looks quite a bit like the Archon's? It also depicts the floating Archon's palace in the distance. Now, I just want to sum this up by saying I think that any one of these points is a stretch. Hello, like snakes and Tevinter go together like chocolate and peanut butter. But I think when you put them all together, there's a bit there's something there. It's a bit more compelling when you take all of these things together. And just to throw one more wrench into this whole theory, in Inquisition, we have a codex entry that mentions a Magister Gallus. This Magister, we know, was at least affiliated with the Venatori, and we don't know anything else about them. So, what are your takes on this?
So, I definitely see all of your points, and I go with that. And I don't really have a counter argument to it. Like, sometimes when we do this, I throw in the, like, okay, well, this is it. Other than, like, it's not confirmed. But
right.
At this point, who cares? What I will say to kind of support this is, as I hinted to earlier, is that if the Viper is in fact the Black Divine, why in hell, other than like general altruism, would the Black Divine be running around with the Shadow Dragons and then running around with Neve unless ordered to or persuaded to do so by the Archon because Neve is his daughter?
Yeah, in like an effort to protect her, basically.
Right. And I know this is sort of begging the question of like, I'm assuming that the Viper is the Black Divine, which is not confirmed either. So like that hinges on that. But I'm acknowledging that like that is the fallacy. But if that is the case there.
Well, we know that the Viper is some kind of significant person in Tevinter society. Otherwise, why would he try to hide his identity?
That's
right?
probably fair.
And the rumor is that he's the Black Divine. There are several rumors in game. And so I feel like, okay, well, we've got one rumor about a person's identity. What's the second one?
Yeah, I know. I don't know.
So for me, I just kind of feel like Neve is either the bastard of Rhodonis or related to this Magister Gallus person.
Right. And like we know that Maevaris and Dorian, like they found the it's not the Liberati that's in the circle. What's their little faction that they form within the Magisterium?
The Lucerni.
The Lucerni, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they form that and like it gets disbanded and then the Shadow Dragons come up and we know that Maevaris and Dorian both have like run-ins and deals and they have like we find out in game that Dorian and Maevaris are both founding members of the Shadow Dragons. So it's not a stretch to me that like the Divine or Archon Rhodonis would have some kind of like playing back this because the truth of the matter is that both the Archon and the Black Divine hate the Venatori. Like they do not want anything to do with the Venatori or returning to the old gods. And I think it is with their history, both Archon Rhodonis and the Black Divine realize that if Tevinter would go back to its old ways, they cannot fight both the Qunari and Southern Thedas at once. And they know that Orlais would side with the Qunari against them in a heartbeat.
Yes.
If they could use the Chantry Exalted March to do so.
Yes.
And I think they very distinctly know, and they can barely hold off the Qunari. There's no way they're holding off a joint Qunari and Southern Thedas front.
Right, and that's exactly the thing about it. Is like, if the Qunari want to take over mainland Thedas, they probably could. They'd suffer significant losses. But if all of mainland Thedas bands together, I think it's anyone's bet. However, if the Qunari can get them divided, they're doing it easily. They are doing it easily. And I agree with you. I think that Archon Rhodonis knows that. And he is trying everything he can to make sure that Tevinter survives.
Yes. And so I would not be surprised if we learn that the Black Divine or Archon Rhodonis actually sanctioned the creation of the Shadow Dragons.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that either, because we know that the Venatori hate him too. And so at some level, like, he can't just be completely evil as a person, because he's, of all of the Archons, he is not as bad as it could be. Like, yeah, he's bad because he's the leader of Tevinter, and Tevinter is a deeply evil country, but he could be a lot worse.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. He is a person who is trying to reform the country. And like a lot of times in countries like Tevinter, someone taking a small step in the right direction creates a cataclysm for a effect for the leaders that come after them that push further and further. But in a lot of these things, they need to take that step to be there.
Absolutely true. So I think we're leaving this conspiracy theory on yes, it's completely possible that Neve is Archimedonus' bastard, but again, we don't know. And so I want to kind of transition us into the end of this episode with, why do you love or hate Neve?
I love Neve. One, Neve is a very, very, very attractive character in the game. Like, I remember one of the criticisms that were coming out that there was no conventional.
There's no hot person.
There's
in the
no
game.
hot one, and I just
baffling.
I just sat there and I was like, one, not to be a little crude, but one, have you seen the butts on Neve and Bellara?
Yeah, especially Bellara. That thing is thangin'.
Yeah, but just in general, both of them are so conventionally attractive.
They're just not white and blonde. Yeah,
exactly. And so that's the other thing. I really, really went back and forth, and I do want to go back and do a playthrough at some point of doing Neve's romance. Because I've done Bellara's. Actually, I think Bellara's the only romance that I've actually done.
You've only played this game twice?
Twice. And I don't...
Who did you romance the second time?
I don't remember. Maybe... I think it was Lucanus.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like Neve too. I think that she's such a good reminder that hey, not every person from Tevinter is a magister. Yes, we get a lot of that, but that's not everyone. I just wish that we had gotten also I wish we'd gotten to see more of Tevinter. I feel like we only see Dogtown really. But I do like Neve, and I think that the private investigator lens is really unique and interesting. I just kind of wish, usually in games, we learn a lot about their childhood and how they came to do what they're doing. We don't really get a lot of that with Neve.
No, we don't at all. But yeah, I do agree with you that we don't get that with Neve, and Neve is kind of in that point of we're just dropped into where she is, and we get some background into that. And it's not that we don't learn about her personality, but I do think it's interesting that Neve is also one of the companions that can end up with someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Though I guess now that I think about it, I think Daffrin is the only one who won't romance someone.
Yeah, because Emmerich and Strife get together.
Yes.
Harding and Tosh get together.
Bellara and Irulan will get together.
Get back together.
Yes.
Lucanus and Neve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, okay, anyway.
Yeah, so I guess that's true. So she'll get with Lucanus, which I just think is so I feel like they try to paint it as enemies to lovers, but it's not, because they're competing of Treviso and Menrathis, but I wouldn't say there's not. I don't like the thing to say that there's not conflict within the Veilguard, because there is. There is conflicting idea. I just think that when we talk about conflict that exists, first of all, do not use Dragon Age 2 as your benchmark for conflict, because those people are chaotic and unhealthy and can't do anything. Inquisition, you're talking about a bunch of people who are at the top of their fields.
You're talking about coworkers, really and truthfully, too.
In Inquisition, so they're going to have conflict or do whatever. In the Veilguard, it's just a bunch of people, and the world is literally ending. I know there's always a world-ending catastrophe, but this is so much worse. Mm-hmm. It is so much worse even than Corypheus and a Magister coming back.
Even than the Blight.
Right. It is so much worse. And I just think that there's not a lot of conflict, and they're not solving that because they're so focused on the fact, okay, there's more important stuff going on than whether or not I agree that Lucanus is an abomination or not. Like,
right.
That's not going to be a thing. Whereas, like, with Anders and everything, like, that's a central point of conflict for the entire party.
Well, that is the main plot of the game.
Right.
Like Anders, you know. I do agree with that, and I do very much agree that, like, there is conflict among these characters. It's just, like, not as overt in your face, because I think they all realize and know that, like, hey, we've got to get along so that the world doesn't end. We have to at least be okay with each other. And I mean, look at Davrin and Lucanus. They pretty much fight the whole game. And so I agree that there is conflict in the game, but at the end of the day, Neve and Lucanus are not enemies. It's not enemies to lovers. It's like, at most, I'm a little annoyed with you to let's hook up. I'm not sure that it's like a true romance as much as it is a romance of convenience.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. But I love Neve because I think she's funny and she's attractive, and I like her story in the Dogtown. I love a like come from the slums hero who wants to make everything better, who likes to shit on the nobility.
I mean, same. I do. I think that Neve is one of the more compelling characters and one of the more well-written companions, along with Davrin and Emmerich.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like her a lot. The thing I'm left wanting is confirmation of my fan theory.
Right. If you got confirmation of your fan theory,
that's it.
You'd be.
I'd be on cloud 9. Like,
what was it that happened in the like? We did something happened in the Veilguard that you got confirmation of a fan theory, and it was like supreme vindication for you. Like, I told you, I remember when I got it, I was like, you have to play this quest right now, and I didn't tell you anything. I just can't remember what it was.
I think it was about the Evanuris or the old gods.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
I don't know. It may have been something smaller than that. But I think that that's all we've got for today. So if you want to wrap us up, we can head out.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing this research and this. We always love a character deep dive and diving into these characters that we love in Dragon Age. And so I thank you for doing that. And thank you all for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. You can find us on Twitter at DALorecast.
If you have any lore questions, topics to unpack, or side character suggestions, join our Cups Podcasting and More Discord server. It's easily the best place on the internet. You can also support us financially through our Patreon. You can find us there on patreon.com/DragonAgeLorecast.
The Dragon Age Lorecast is part of the Robots Radio Network. For more information about the Robots Radio Network, join the Discord server via the link in our episode description.
If you enjoyed the show or learned something new today, please subscribe, leave us a review, and join the Patreon. And if you enjoyed our intro and outro music, give a big thank you to Pipeman Studios. Thank you, Pipeman. Thanks again for listening to the Dragon Age Lorecast. We'll see you next time.
Have you ever wanted to deep dive into the lore and stories behind all your favorite Marvel movies? Then do we have the show for you? I'm Captain Shenko.
And I'm Psych88. Join us as we dissect the media megalith that is the MCU. We'll talk about the origin stories, the fights, and everything in between.
The MCU Lorecast releases on all major podcasting platforms on Mondays as part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club and can be found on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.